I've been talking to a very well-off friend of mine, and he is telling me a story about when he was younger and he didn't have any money, and a girl he was dating suddenly left him, and he said that he was convinced and he knew in his heart that she had left him because, you know, he was a young man with no money and she was dating some guy with a fancier car or whatever. And he said, I wanted nothing more than to have money to see how she would look at me differently and everything. And he said now that I have more money than I know what to do with, because he has this electronic company that he sold to some company from that displays products in Home Depot. Anyways, that's besides the point. He says, now that I have more money that I know what to do with, and I have this wife that when I look at her, I know that she's with me because of the life that I can provide for her. And he says, I know that because I see how she looks at people that are not in the same financial position as me. I hear how she talks about them. I see that look of contempt when she encounters a person who's of a lower, socioeconomic status, and I see the look of admiration when she talks about and sees people, my friends, myself, that are, in a different financial position, totally different stratosphere. And he says that the difficult part is I don't feel any better than I did when my young girlfriend left me. When I compare my wife now and I look at her knowing that she is with me because of the life that I can provide for her, knowing full well that if I did not have what I have now, she would completely look at me differently. And he's 100% correct. It doesn't mean that she's a bad person or a good person or anything in between. It is what it is. But the funny thing is, what he was confiding in me was that I don't feel any better because I know why she's there. And back then, when I was a young, penniless boy, I knew why she left me. And he says, it doesn't give me a better feeling. The only difference is I have money to do the things I want for myself. He doesn't have children. I thought that's very funny. I thought this is something that an average person would never think of. They would look at some guy who's got all the markers of a very wealthy, successful person, and he thinks he has no problems. He thinks he's happy in his heart with no issues. Whereas if you talk to them in person, you would never imagine what they would say. And I'm sharing with you in this video what this man said. Who would think that these are thoughts that go through his mind? And he can't help it. He can't help it. He says, I cannot help it but to think of these things every day, every time we're out, always. And he says he doesn't in any way blame her or look down on her or look up to her, but he just was sharing that those are the thoughts that go through my mind, and I know I'm right. And I know I'm right because I know how women have left when men have, lost their status, their financial status in life. And I know how they got attracted to men like flies to a cake when suddenly, they ran into a bunch of money and their situation changed. It's funny. He says, I felt, he said, no better now than I did back then when that girl left me when I was a young boy. And that really got me thinking. I thought I had it all figured out, Well, I really didn't, but I thought I had a very good idea, and I still do. But that is something I did not even think of until he told me this. And again, he's telling me that he can't help but to have those thoughts, because they are real. Because when something is real, you'll have a very difficult time denying yourself, denying that such reality exists. And these are the realities of life. People are there with you for a reason, and people leave you for a reason. They come into your life for a reason, and they leave you with a lesson, which if you're smart, you learn and you live your life based on the lessons that you learn. If you don't learn from the mistakes, if you don't learn from the experiences, if you don't learn from the situations that life presents to you, then what good is the experience? Then what good is the value of the lessons that you learned if you don't apply it and act accordingly? In your life's future. Leaving you with that thought. All the best.